Studio, and we've got Wayne Carr joining us now. Wayne is Southern District Public Service Commissioner for the state of Mississippi. Good morning, Mr. Commissioner.
Good morning, sir.
Appreciate some time. So would love to learn a little bit more about the Nuclear Summit. Public Service Commission hosted a nuclear summit recently, brought together some of the leaders in the industry. Talk to us big picture, and then we can kind of drill down a little bit.
Okay, big picture. Our summit yesterday was intel. We brought, like you said, people in the industry that have a very good background. I can say that I learned a tremendous lot yesterday. I've read a lot, but there's some things that they informed us on yesterday that I was not aware of. And so the industry is always changing. Technology is always changing. With AI getting involved, it's making things simpler, but, we as humans, we still have to check it and verify. So there's a lot of obstacles and hills that we have to overcome. I was just reading this morning an article talking about Amazon, and their plan is to have 240 data centers by 2040. To do that, it's going to require, electricity. It's going to require our energy companies partnering up with these AI companies, which is a partnership that I think they're all willing to involve on. In my view, there's a lot of components involved in this. There's also another article talking about the hills that we have to overcome. One is the cybersecurity, which we are not allowed to talk about much, and you can understand why. But also transmission. When we build a plant, there's cost in transmission lines, and that's not cheap. So, but with nuclear, you can put your power generation right on site. Now the data centers are going out and looking at abandoned or decommissioned power generating plants, and also they're even looking, like in California, they were looking at a football stadium to put their data center in. So they're looking at everything they can possibly bring to the table to make this transition a lot easier.
Wayne, we've got the Grand Gulf nuclear site in right outside of Port Gibson, and that's the only nuclear power plant in Mississippi. There are, I feel like because of the word nuclear, people immediately kind of draw back a little bit, and their concerns about safety and maintenance and all of those things. Is another nuclear facility in Mississippi a viable option?
Yes. We're welcoming, nuclear, and we're wanting to partner up with people. Mm-hmm. Our state door is always open for us to entertain that conversation. But with Entergy, we will not necessarily have one in our state, and that's correct. But we also have in the surrounding states like Arkansas and Louisiana, the total of 5,211 megawatts. So we have 4 locations. There's 5 reactors. So energy is, they're well ahead of us in their thinking process. They've seen this coming years ago, along with the Southern Company. So we're in good shape as far as Mississippi, as far as power. We're welcoming the data centers. We have a lot of dark fiber that is not being used, and those AI companies and data centers see that. So our door is open. As you well know, we have Amazon in the Canton area,
right,
in Madison, but we have other data companies that are talking to our utility companies now, and especially in the central and the southern district. So they're in conversation with them now. So we should hear something in the next 6 to 8 months. We should hear some more language out there that will be very encouraging for our state.
You know, Wayne, I have started thinking about this differently than I did in the past. I'd never focused a lot on electricity, but, whether it's in talks with Joe Mack Higgins or some of the other people that are involved in economic development in Mississippi and trying to attract companies, I had never given a ton of thought to just how much the energy piece, the electricity piece of this is involved. I mean, you think about the Golden Triangle area and the things that are going on there and the massive amount of power that is needed for those big mega sites and the major companies, manufacturing companies that are coming in. You say we're positioned well because of Entergy looking ahead a little bit. Is that a positioning that could quickly change? I mean, we're going to need more, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
The whole industry, as far as electrical and construction, is changing tremendously from the standpoint, when we have a data center, about 40% of the consumption of electricity is for cooling. And that cooling requires water. And that's another issue that we're running in short supply of water. And that's a concern for myself and the Commissioner Stamps and Commissioner Brown that, sometimes we overlook the very essence of life, and that's water. And making sure that we have it there for the electrical industry, but also for our residents, too, and our citizens, that they have fresh water. We don't want to be robbing Peter to pay Paul, so to speak. And another component of that is skilled labor. One of the number in the top 10 as far as skilled labor shortages is electrician, I being one of them. And we've been talking about that for 10 years. We don't see any new young people coming on board. So I would encourage, if there's someone out there that's looking for a good paying job, to go look at the electrical industry, because there's a lot of opportunity there. In any part of construction, there's a in the future, our hands will be as valuable as a physician.
How does that work, in your view? How does that work hand in hand with automation and the fact that, so is that skilled labor necessary primarily during the construction phase of these facilities, or do you see ongoing opportunities for skilled labor beyond just on the building out of the facilities themselves?
Oh, yes, sir. Let's go back to the nuclear industry, where we're getting our that skill set is coming from our military, and even the military is in shortages of good quality people. And so I would ask any young person to look at those options in this field. Now, going back to once the construction job is finished, yes, there will be people inside that. They're $75,000 to $100,000 a year jobs, and that's pretty good jobs here in Mississippi. That's pretty good pay anywhere in this country. So,
no doubt.
Yes, I think there's very good opportunities there for people.
I think Ray gave us a good reminder. Remember, I said earlier, I was like, people sometimes hesitate when they hear the word nuclear. He reminded us, he said, U.S. Navy's used nuclear-powered submarines for a really, really long time, going back to the late 1940s, and it's worked pretty well for those.
Yes,
and safely.
Sir. Yes, sir. And with the small nuclear module reactors, there's some concern there for myself as far as the safety of it, and they're whittling that down to where it's going to be a viable option for these data companies, because they can pull them right up on the site and start generating power. I know that sounds simple. It's really complex, and when some people think that you can just pull one in on an 18-wheeler and drop it off and start generating power, it's not quite that simple. There's a lot of work that goes into that. Yeah,
there certainly is. Cost benefit quickly. If you're talking about a nuclear power plant, you're talking about, probably a $10 billion investment at this point. Maybe not quite that much, but not far from it. Will the state work with an energy company that wanted to do those, or is that wait and see?
Well, to go back to your number figures, Vogel, that was in Georgia, They were, from my understanding, they were $15 to $17 billion over budget.
Whew.
So
over budget.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
Yes, sir. It's very expensive because there's a lot of, precautions in it as far as security. That's right there at the top, but also from the safety factor of it. So, but that's the first one in quite some time that they did. As you build something one time, the next time gets a little bit easier. You learn from your mistakes.
Yeah.
So, and Georgia Power is sharing that, and in the Southern companies, they're well informed about their cost overruns there, and they're I look for them, Southern companies, and other places where these data centers are going